For some people, supercars just don't do it for them. I'm not one of those guys. The looks, the performance, the engineering and the rarity of them just make it a bit of an event every time I see one. And after reading an article by Matt over at Throttle about how they peaked 10 years ago, I thought I'd better find out if he was right or not for myself, because most people just assume that the newer car's the better one. Cue the Ferrari 458, arguably the best supercar of that era. This one being the Speciale and one of the last ones ever made means its power's been up from 562 horsepower to 597 and has a top speed of 202 miles an hour all going through those rear wheels. Sounds like the perfect recipe, doesn't it? And I mean, it must be good for Captain Slow to have one. When you compare it to the stats of the newer models, the 488 Pista and the F8 Tributo, however you pronounce it, it does kinda show its age, since all the cars over the past 4 or 5 years need to have about 700 brake to be competitive in this new market, and it kinda looks a little bit lacklustre on paper, doesn't it? Mental saying that about a car with 462 brake horsepower per tonne, but the more modern equivalents of the 458 have and always will leave the older generation car behind, whether that's on a track or in a straight line. It's just how Ferrari do it. But, and it is a big but, where do you draw the line when it comes to a car that you want to drive about on a public road? You know, when does a supercar become too fast to actually enjoy it? Well, that is the question that I'm going to try and answer today. To do that, let's go back in time to 2010, when the first 458 rolled off the production line. Power-wise, it was a big step up from the F430, just like the F430 was a decent jump from the 360. Near enough all supercars back then were 5 to 600 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in around 3.5 seconds, and cost about 200k, with the exception of the GTR, which was an absolute bargain at 70 grand. The 458 was going up against Lexus LFAs, Lamborghini Gallardo Balbonis, numerous spicy Porsches, and obviously you can't forget about Godzilla either. No, not that one. There's the fella. Some competition, that innit? Now there's no denying that on track the newer faster cars would wipe the floor with the older generation. Ian, who owns this Speciale, bought a 458 Spider and a Pista to have alongside this in the garage, and whilst performance wise those cars are on another level to the 458, which are his words and not mine, the Speciale is the last one standing. Why is that then? Well, if you're out on the open road you can actually give the Speciale the beans every now and again without the fear of losing your licence and your life. The turboed lump in the 488 is just ridiculous in comparison to the delivery you get in this, but the noise and experience you have sitting in the cab of a 458 with a big naturally aspirated V8 behind your head is incomparable. My M140i can, just about keep up with it, and I'm not trying to say, oh, just get one of these instead, because that would just be stupid. Yeah, there are things that are quicker than it in a straight line that are cheaper, and depending on the surface of the road, there are things that can keep up with it around the bendy bits too, like Tom in his GI Yaris. Go on, son. But supercars have always been about the full package of looks and performance, and I can guarantee you'd rather have one of these parked up in the garage than a Yaris and a Bimmer. Just sitting in one of these things is an experience in itself, and I can't really put into words why it is, but it's just better than the majority of newer supercars out there. I could throw all of the cliches at you, like, oh, it's such a raw driving experience, and oh, it's so much better without all of the electronic driver assists, but this car is absolutely filled with a shit ton of tech. It's just that the newer cars have a little bit more. For an 11-year-old car, it still looks the part as well, doesn't it? I know this Speciale is only 7-year-old, but they haven't really changed anything major, they just added a stripe to the untrained eye. Even a proper amateur like me can take a banging photo of it. If I do say so myself. You know what, I actually agree with Matt. Ferrari hit the sweet spot with this one. I can't fully explain why, but if you ever get the chance to go in one, do it, and you'll totally understand what I'm talking about. If anyone with an F8 wants to change my mind, then be my guest and get in touch, but until then, I'm a stand by what I said. Cheers for watching, remember to like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. As always, I'll link my socials down in the description because my car's getting a bit of work done to it at the moment, so you might want to go check it out if you're a nosy bastard. But I'm going to let some of these clips play out for the rest of the video because, I mean, it's not every evening you get to go have a play in a Speciale, is it? See you in the next one. Bye!